Hello, it's me, Cupcake Jemma. I'm here at the Crumbs and Doilies shop. I've been having a lovely time downstairs meeting all the customers and serving all the cakes and stuff. It's been great, but we thought we'd pop up here, knock out a little video, me and Nikki, to use up the remainder of like the fruits of the summer, sort of autumnal vibes. And we're going to make a blackberry and white chocolate cupcake. We haven't made a cupcake for ages, feels like. I'm Cupcake Jemma, like, what the heck am I doing? Where are my blooming cupcakes? Well, they're right here. Well, not yet. They will be. It's going to be a delicious blackberry ripple sponge. Now, you can use blackberries if they're in season for you. If they're not, don't worry. You can buy them frozen. But you can also use any other kind of fruit. Like you could do this with raspberries or strawberries or any kind of soft fruit. You could even use stone fruit if you want, but I would recommend whizzing it up and then passing it through a sieve. So now we're just going to make the sponge, which is just a really simple, basic, I don't want to say basic, base sponge using our regular all-in-one method. So I'm going to start by putting 135 grams of self-raising flour. That's a little bit more than normal, but that's because we're going to be putting a bit of the blackberry goo through the sponge, and it just kind of helps to bolster it a little bit. Then 125 grams of caster sugar goes in, 125 grams of nice, soft, squishable, ready to spread, if you will, butter. And this is unsalted as usual. 2 lovely large free-range eggs. Crack them at your leisure. So we've got all our bits and bobs in. That's it for now. As usual, we're gonna mix that on a sort of medium to high speed. Just mix it for about a minute until it all comes together. Once it's all together, you can drop the speed right down to a minimum and then add the milk. I'm going to add 1.5 tablespoons of whole milk. If you want, you can add a bit of vanilla just to boost the flavour, but I don't think we need it in this case. Then we're going to mix that for about 30 seconds, stop the mixer, give it a scrape to make sure nothing is stuck at the bottom somewhere, and then give it one last blast for another few seconds just to make sure it's all incorporated. And that will do. Now, you're probably wondering, where's the blackberry you were talking about? Well, I've gooed it up. And if you have been watching the channel for a while, you will know what I mean by goo. That is just a really simple jam, sort of quick jam that we like to make here at Crumbs and Doilies. I have a gazillion recipes for it, and we're going to put a link to that in the description below so you know how to do it. Also, if you've got the Crumbs and Doilies book, there's a recipe in there. But basically, we're going to make a ripple. So I have my lovely goo all ready made, and here it is. Look at the colour of that. Isn't that gorgeous? So this is the kind of consistency we look for when we're making the goo. So you could do this with store-bought jam, but this is super duper punchy in flavour. You know how like some jam is just a little bit sugary and not that fruity? So maybe something like if you could buy a compote, if you really want an easy life and you don't want to make it. You could do this with any soft fruit. Just make sure you follow the instructions in the video or the book and you'll get it there. So I'm going to basically blob in a couple of blobs, give it a little wiggle, just to ripple it a bit, and then start scooping out. And then I'll add a bit more if I think I need to, if I feel like the ripples are running out. So I've just given a little shimmy with my spoon, just to ripple it a little bit. We're not trying to like mix it through, because actually what happens when you mix, especially things like blackberries and raspberries, when you mix it through the whole sponge, when you bake it, it turns this really horrible like grey colour. We don't want that. We want nice, bright, vivid pockets of this goo. So I haven't really mixed it very much. As I pick it up, I'm going to try and sort of pick up a bit of unrippled batter. So the main body of that blob will be like unrippled, but as I tumble it into the cupcake case, as I'm about to, it'll all sort of ripple itself up, and like bits will be buried and bits won't be, and it's going to just bake so nicely, and I can't wait. Anyway, carry on. And then you want to bake those at 170 degrees C for 18 to 20 minutes. And the way that you test these, as per usual, is to just give a little tap on top. And hopefully they'll spring back. If they don't spring back, they won't be ready yet. You need to add a minute or two. Well, our cupcakes are out of the oven. They smell really good and they look really good, and they're just cooling down. They need a bit of time to themselves. I'm gonna make the white chocolate Swiss meringue buttercream. I think this is now my favorite buttercream Swiss meringue. We used to only really use American buttercream here, but I don't know. Swiss meringue's got the edge now. It's silky. It's actually pretty easy to make, as you will see. First things first, you've got to make sure all your equipment, anything that's coming into contact with the meringue part of things, needs to be mega clean. So I've wiped down this bowl, that bowl, the whisk, that whisk, all the things with vinegar, just to get rid of any grease before I start, because as we all know, grease kills the fluffing process. That's not the technical term, but it just prevents the egg whites from whipping up properly. I've got 3 egg whites in here, large. I'm gonna put them into my metal bowl. I've got 225 grams of caster sugar. If you're in a country where caster sugar isn't really a thing, you could just use granulated sugar for this particular thing, because what we're going to do is just give it a little mix with the balloon whisk, just to get things going. I'm also going to turn on my pan, because I actually should have done that a little while ago to get it simmering. So I like to keep it moving just slowly with my whisk. I don't want to whip it particularly. I just want to move the eggs around. You can actually leave it for a minute or 2 and it won't like cook. As long as it's a simmer, as long as it's kind of a low temperature, it won't like cook your eggs. So if you have to go and like, I don't know, measure something over here, or like wash something up over there, you can do that. Just come back to it every now and get it moving. So here we are with our lovely smooth egg whites. I'm going to pour this into the bowl of a mixer, because nobody needs to be standing there doing the whisking by hand in life. Well, certainly not if you've got one of these. Why would you do that? But if you don't, then go ahead. By all means, it just will take quite a long time. You have to be whisking it constantly until it cools down, and that can actually take quite a few minutes. So if you want to do that, I approve, but also I'm not going to do it too. Anywho, so we're going to start this by getting it going on I start quite fast actually, like a medium speed, and we're just going to let that do its thing. Mixing with the balloon whisk. Probably take about 10 to 15 minutes. Nikki's looking at me funny, but all right, guys, this is what we're talking about. Glossy. It's got a nice shiny. I mean, it is a stiff peak. It's just like, this is a really big whisk. It is much cooler to the touch. Just a tiny bit of warmth, sort of hand heat, but that's okay. So now it's time to put the butter in. So as usual, it's super soft. This one is like nice and spreadable. I've got 300 grams here. I'm going to add it a little bit at a time. There has been some talk about whether you can add it all at once, and if you want to go ahead and do that, you may. I like to add it in a little bit at a time. I just feel like it's more control, and also you can see if it is too hot that way, then at least you know, and you don't have to put all your butter in and it's just all a sloppy mess. So keep it going on a high speed and just start adding butter, a nugget at a time. Go on. There he goes. So all my butter went in, and now we have this beautiful, I mean, I can assure you it is beautiful, I just can't get it off. This lovely, silky, smooth, mega buttery, oh my God, it smells so good, buttercream. This is just your base Swiss meringue. You can do so many things at this point to change it into lots of different wonderful flavours. We're going to add white chocolate, because that's what we're making, white chocolate Swiss meringue. So I have 120 grams of white chocolate, which I have melted, and it is cooled down as well. So it's not going to like melt this even further. So let's just get that on. And she's done. Well, that is gonna be, oh my gosh, this one is gonna be delicious. I'm actually gonna taste it. Magnifique. Put that to one side. I think my cakes are still a little bit warm, so I'm gonna let them just cool down a little bit more, and then we'll get on with decorating. Okay, here we are. We have our cupcakes, they're nice and cool. We have some leftover goo, which is great news because that means we can fill our cupcakes with it. I've put my delicious Swiss meringue buttercream into a piping bag with a lovely star nozzle. I've also made some oat crumble pie crumb. You can see it here. The recipe for that is in the Crumbs and Doilies book on page 64. Here it is, crumble pie crumb. So it's just flour, oats, melted butter, bit of caster sugar, bit of demerara, probably a pinch of salt. And I actually really love making pie crumb. It's a really fun thing to make, and also then you won't use all of it on these cupcakes, but you can then use it on all sorts of other things like your ice cream, your other desserts, just nibbling. Sometimes I put it on my daughter's breakfast. I've also got some edible flowers. Could be quite a sort of beige affair on top, you know, with the white buttercream and the sort of beigey crumble. Just a few little delightful edible flowers. And you can get those online usually. Things like cornflowers and marigolds are in there. They're really nice. I've got my apple corer. Gonna get coring. These look so nice with their little petals and their crumbly bits. But really, the best thing about them is that they taste really good. And also they're really adaptable. Like I said, you don't have to use blackberry if you don't want to. You can use something else, a different kind of fruit. But they are really delicious, as I will demonstrate immediately. This is going to be so messy though, because this is like fresh icing. There it goes. Oh my God. Oh, a freshly baked cupcake. So delicious because we've got the tart blackberry goo inside. There's a nice little sort of tart surprise, and it is running through the sponge. It doesn't overwhelm the sponge with flavour, but it's really there. And the white chocolate with Swiss meringue buttercream is so silky and light. And it's nice to have a bit of texture from the crumble. Like, otherwise this all might feel a little bit like samey all the way through. It's just another classically balanced cupcake that you have come to expect from this channel. I do hope you give this a go, and if you do a different flavour, please let me know and let everyone else know how that went in the comments box if you make it with a different kind of fruit. I know we haven't shouted about the book for a while. It's been a while since we talked about this, but here is the Crumbs and Doilies book. I'm sure you've probably all got it by now, but if you don't forget you can get this on CupcakeJemma.com. You can also buy signed copies on CupcakeJemma.com, and you can't get that anywhere else. You can only get that from Crumbs and Doilies. Look, there it is, it's the signature. It could be yours. So please go to CupcakeJemma.com. We've also got loads of merch there, which you can pick up, and also just fun things, recipes and the like. And also an opportunity to hang out with me if you want. Go and check that out. That's actually really cool, because you can, if you want, like book a time to ask me anything, basically. So go and check that page out. We'll put a link to that in the description box. That's a new thing. I'm actually really excited about it. I'm actually really excited to meet you, bake with you, answer your questions, whatever it is that you want from me. I will, within reason, do it. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me. I've really enjoyed sharing this recipe with you. I love to do it, and I love to hear your feedback, so give that to me. And I'll see you in a couple of weeks for another recipe. Bye. Finish off this pie crumb.